Today we're going to review the rules for the order of operations. You have learned in 6th and 7th grade about PEMDAS. PEMDAS can be remembered with "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." And the P represents parentheses. We always look for this first in a problem. Second, we look for exponents. Third, multiplication and division. And those have equal power. So from left to right, whichever one comes first. In other words, if division comes before multiplication, then you can do the division first. If multiplication comes first, you would do that first. They have equal power. And then the same thing with addition and subtraction, either order. Subtraction and then addition, or addition and then subtraction. I want to point out the difference. One of the most confusing things are problems with the parentheses. If you look over here, we have a few examples. We have example 1, example 2, example 3, and example 4. And example 1 and 2 look very similar. One says 10 minus 2 squared. The other one has the 10 minus 2 in parentheses and then squared. So because of PEMDAS, in problem number 1, there are no parentheses, so we must take care of the exponents first. 2 to the second power equals 4, so then the problem is 10 minus 4, and the answer is 6. The problem just below it, however, has the 10 minus 2 in parentheses, so we take care of that work. 10 minus 2 is 8. And now we go to exponents next. 8 to the second power is 8 times 8, which is 64. So you can see how different those answers can be. Parentheses are very important. In number 3, we have 12 minus 2 to the third power. And in number 4, we have 12 minus 2 in parentheses raised to the third power. So in number 3, we're going to take care of the exponent first because there are no parentheses. 2 to the third power equals 8 because it is 2 times 2 times 2. And 12 minus 8 equals 4. In problem number 4, however, inside the parentheses we have the 12 minus 2, which gives us 10. And now we're going to raise 10 to the third power, which is 10 times 10 times 10, and that's going to equal 1,000. Huge difference there between those two answers, 4 and 1,000. We're going to look at a worksheet that has several problems, and I'm going to go through a few of these examples. Not all of them, so I'm going to just kind of handpick a few. We're going to look at number 6 here. This problem has negative 2 raised to the third power. And I need to remind you that when you have a negative number raised to a power, you have to remember to write the negative with that number each time. So we have negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. And then we're going to have minus a negative 5. So PEMDAS would tell me to take care of the multiplication. This would give me a positive 4, the negative times the negative. But now I've got to bring down this negative 2, and I have a positive times a negative. 4 times negative 2 gives me negative 8. And now I'm going to subtract the negative 5. When we have double negatives side by side, they basically become a positive, or a set of two positives. So we have negative 8 plus 5, and that equals negative 3. In the next example here, problem number 9, we look at this problem and we say PEMDAS. We first look for parentheses. There's not any work that can be done inside the parentheses, so the next thing to do would be to deal with the exponent. We're going to raise negative 4 to the second power, so a negative times a negative will yield a positive 16. Now we still have the 8 out here, and we still have this minus sign because that was before the parentheses. Make sure that you do not assume that you've taken care of that negative. Now we're just going to go left to right. 8 minus 16 is negative 8, and negative 8 minus 5 is negative 13. Let's look at some other problems here on this worksheet. We'll look at a couple maybe a little bit more challenging than those. Let's go down here and look at number 14. We have 4 times 6 minus 9 divided by 6. Parentheses are going to come first. And so we'll look at this problem and say, okay, this would be 6 minus 9. And 6 minus 9 is negative 3. And remember, when we bring this 4 down, we have to make sure that this answer is in parentheses, because we're not going to do 4 minus 3. That's going to be multiplication. We're going to bring everything else down. So 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 divided by a positive 6. We have a negative divided by a positive. That's going to give us a negative for the answer of negative 2. Now let's come down here and look at number 18. Have a few more exponents here. Now in this problem we have 2 different exponents. Doesn't really matter the order, but these are the 2 things that we're going to take care of first. And just make sure that you realize that that negative is not going to go away. I guess I should put an arrow there. It looks like I'm making an equal sign. So negative 3 to the second power is negative 3 times negative 3. That's going to yield a positive 9. A negative times a negative is a positive. We're going to bring down this subtraction sign. And now we're going to square negative 2 times negative 2. Again, that's going to give a positive 4. And the 4 is positive. This minus sign has just come down from here. And then we'll bring down our minus 1, and we can go left to right because we just have subtraction. 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4, which would be our final answer. Okay, and now let's look at, let's go to one like number 22. So we look for parentheses, and we actually have 3 different parentheses here, but there's really only one that there's work inside that can be done. So the 5 minus 7 clearly can be, work can be done here. So 5 minus 7 is negative 2. It's in parentheses, so you need to keep it protected in that parentheses. That's going to be raised to the second power. Now we're going to come over here, negative 3 times negative 3 will give us a positive 9. Bring down that multiplication symbol here. Now this can get tricky, okay, because you may kind of feel like you want to just go over here and deal with these double negatives, but we can't deal with that yet because PEMDAS tells me that if I have a minus minus, that's not multiplication and division. And multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. So we have to look at this negative 9 divided by 3 over here. And that's going to give us a negative 3. But where this gets kind of messy is we still have this little negative out here. We haven't dealt with that, so we have to bring that down. So when we bring that down, we're going to have the minus, and let me write this minus 3 a little better here, larger. Okay. So now we still have that double negative, but we can't deal with that yet because we still have an exponent. So this here is what we're going to deal with first, negative 2 to the second power. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. We're going to bring down our 9, and we're going to bring down the symbol that goes with it, which is multiplication. And then we bring down our minus 3. PEMDAS tells us that we have to multiply before we can add and subtract. So we'll have 36 minus negative 3. A double negative becomes positive positive, or one big positive. And the answer there would be 39. So we're going to have an activity that we're going to work on today in class, and the instructions will make it clear, but you're going to be practicing order of operations and seeing what you remember from 6th and 7th grade. And you're going to do a card ordering activity, and then we'll do some follow-up after that exercise.